All right, boys and gentlemen, who here is ready to meet our very special guests? I would like to present the one and only Peter New and Kelly Metzger.
Can nobody see us now?
Oh. What should we do?
Yeah, we'll hop up and down. We'll do this. Thank you.
Okay.
How's it going? Pretty fun so far, yeah?
Oh. There you go.
So, I don't know, I just said pretty fun so far. Like I was pretending like it was less fun than it really is. And they kind of went like this. They kind of went, yeah. Because I was expecting more like a woo! Like that. And that didn't really happen.
Uh-oh, we better ask the question again.
Why don't you ask it? Maybe you ask it.
How much fun are you having?
That's good. That's better.
Why don't you ask?
Pretty fun so far, huh? Doesn't work for me. It's weird. Seriously, fun? Yeah! I've been in the dealer hall. Have you been in the dealer hall?
I did take a stroll around the dealer hall.
That's pretty cool in there.
There's some nice stuff.
Good stuff. What's your favorite, everyone on the count of three, what's your favorite thing so far? 1, 2, 3.
Posters, plushies, that box.
I heard my own name, so
Mustache? No, bow. It's a bow.
bow. That's the sonic screwdriver bow.
Oh,
Which,
what does that mean?
If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you. It's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
I still don't know what that means.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, well,
So you're Kelly Metzger,
I am.
and you play.
I play Spitfire.
Yeah. What does Spitfire sound like?
Well, she kind of sounds like this. She likes to boss people around. She wants people to reach their maximum potential. And if they don't, they have to drop and give me 20! And depending how fast they do it, they might just make an Academy record! What about you, Peter? What do you do on this show?
I play Goldie Delicious exclusively.
What does Goldie Delicious say?
Yeah, she's a cat lady. She's one of the relatives of the Apple family, and she lives far away. You gotta make a trek to get to her.
That character's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Come on.
I also play Big Macintosh though, really.
Like, what does he say?
Yup.
Amazing.
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 What are you guys doing here? There's that. I heard there would be ponies too. And there are a lot of awesome looking ponies.
Yeah, we're seeing some really good costumes today.
Yeah.
A lot of those hats with ears. And
I love those ears, the little ears you can get. I love those little ears.
so cute.
I don't have any little ears.
You don't? You have big, you have big ears.
I'm an ordinary ears.
I have one big ear and one ear that's more polite.
It's true.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to have the social functions with the queen.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. The rebel ear.
Yeah.
Okay, this is getting weird.
It's weird now. Rebel ears. So in case you wanted to get into voice acting, it's about having 2 different ear sizes.
Actually, I usually take my hands and don't put them on this ear because it hurts.
Yeah? I always have them off of one ear.
Yeah.
By cans, I mean headphones, and by ear, I mean ear.
Ah, yes, sorry. We were using some inside lingo there.
Yeah, cans.
The cool kids call them cans. it's really cool.
That's what we call them, really, yeah. Our headphones that we wear in this studio.
Yeah, so if you ever get a voiceover job, you can be like, can I have some cans, please?
Yeah, you could be like, can I get a little more of myself in my cans? You just bump me up in my cans too loud, too loud. A little less of me in my cans.
That's a real thing.
It doesn't look weird. I have said both of those things.
Yeah, and then you step on the chords and then you kind of like pull your head.
That's true. Oh, thank you.
We're gonna get funnier if we drink these.
These are old fashions.
Yes, we are very classy. But you're double fisting it.
I have to finish a beer so I can have my old fashioned.
Yeah.
Well, it's about 20 after 12 where we come from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, really, it was trying to be classy, but it's afternoon, so that's okay.
Yeah. When did we start drinking these?
Maybe 11:45 our time.
That's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. In London.
In London, where I can show the queen my polite.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. So no one has told us what to do here. We're just.
That's why it's happening like this. Oh.
I don't think I quite get in the kneeling position on these chairs.
It looks
You have
fun.
that? Are you going to post that later? Okay, everybody can see how totally awkward this looks. Spitfire has to wing it. So
Bad jokes are allowed here. This is a bad joke. Safe zone.
bad jokes say something. Yeah, as long as we keep it family-friendly bad jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if you tell a bad joke, then you just have to do the bad joke.
Can we do the bad joke? The screen has 6 legs. If it fell out of a tree, it would kill you.
I don't know.
A pool table.
Okay, well, should we just jump into questions?
Yeah, we should maybe jump into questions, isn't it? I don't suppose you're gonna have a question. Do you?
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah. Well, why don't you come on down here? Come on down. Come on. Come on. What's your question? I'll just do this.
All right. So, Big Mac was first shown up in the 4th episode of Applebuck season. When you first started that, what were your first thoughts?
My first. Oh, jeez.
And your feelings.
Yeah, that's better. I won't do that again. I've done that twice already. So my first thoughts in Applebuck season. I guess I didn't really think of it as being different from any other voice jobs. At the time, I was really just a jobbing voice actor. I would get an episode of this show, an episode of that show. And then that would be it. Then I'd sort of wait till the next gig came along. So I didn't really think anything of it. Beyond, yay, I got work, you know. And a bit of an irony that it was My Little Pony that I was working on, because I hated it as a kid. I love it. This iteration of it is great, so I'm really proud to be a part of it. But that all came later, because it really was just, oh good, I get to be in the studio for 4 hours and say some stuff, and that's that. It wasn't really until much later that I got to look back on it and have, this deeper appreciation of the phenomenon. How much later? At least a year. Next question. You take a question. Oh, he's doing it. Want to share?
I think I'm not gonna get a mic. You're just gonna talk it.
You'll get this shit.
How good are you at drawing Big Mac's cutie mark?
How good am I at drawing big cutie? Someone have a piece of paper? Let's put it to the test. Bring your paper out. Let's go. Sorry, I'm almost there.
It's a hiss.
amazing.
Okay, pass it around. It's terrible. The answer is terrible. Better than Larson. Did Larson try? I'm terrible.
Thanks a bit, Larson.
Question for Spitfire House.
Just whatever. Questions?
So Big Mac sang
Yes.
in this last. Did you do the singing, and did you find it fun if you did?
I did the singing for the choruses of.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the first one, the other one, the Apple Family reunion
Yes, yeah.
for the Pinky Apple Pie episode one. And obviously the court. Thank you. And then for Philly Vanilli, they wanted a different actor to sing for when Pinkie Pie, for when Pinkie Pie had the Fluttershy was doing it. Oh my God,
The boys and Joe. But
half a beer. Sorry?
actually did sing.
Yeah, in the first bit I was actually me singing, and then when Fluttershy loses her voice,
Right.
it's somebody else doing it.
Did you have fun doing singing?
No, it's terrible. I hate singing.
Just wanted to ask.
No, I did. I had a great time. Thanks for working time.
You guys like barbecue?
We like barbecue. We had, where'd we go? Jake's? John?
Jack Stack.
Jack's? What?
Jack Stack. Oh, wow. Oh. Yeah. Thank you. That's you. How are you? Nice to see you in person.
Hi.
Hi.
So it's our friend Pinkie Pie's birthday. Could you sing to her? Woo! In Big Mac and Spitfire's voice?
What's the name? Pinkie Pie? Maddie. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Maddie. Now Spitfire's name. Happy birthday to you.
Alright, hey guys, I'd like to ask, what advice would you like to give for people who are wanting to become voice actors in the future?
My advice to you is, one, do plays, do theater, learn how to talk, learn how to take something that's written on a page and bring it to life. And two, you have to move to a creative center. I know we're living in a digital world where you can build your own home studio, but the big projects happen in the big centers, and that's where the talent kind of pools to. You'll have more opportunities in LA and New York, and I hear Texas. So you can dream of doing it in Kansas City, but if you really want to play the game, you got to go where the major leaguers play. Yeah.
I have some advice too, which may seem really counterintuitive, but I think is some of the best advice I ever got. And it's advice that comes in a single word, and it's quit.
All right, and another question.
I want to explain that before I get it. Because if any of you are out there and you're hearing me tell you, do you want to be a voice actor? You want to be an artist? Quit. Some of you are going, oh yeah, okay, well maybe I guess I could get that degree in engineering and move on to that. The rest of you are going, hell with you. Forget that. Those of you saying, yeah, gee, maybe I should go get my degree, go get your degree. Because you won't make it. Sorry. Those of you that are going, what? Hell with that advice. Okay, you're on the right track.
All right, and another question. On a scale of 1 to a bajillion, how awesome is this convention?
Small but bajillion awesome.
I have a question for both of you.
Okay.
Spitfire, do you think that Rainbow Dash will ever join the Wonderbolts?
You know, I think Rainbow Dash has leadership qualities. So if she ever were to join the Wonderbolts, it would be when I retire, or if my character dies in a terrible accident. And I don't want that to happen, because they only bring me on once a season as it is. So I do think she has potential. She's an excellent flyer, and she has heart. She has what it takes.
She's a good kid. She works hard to go to sports. She's a team player. She's better in the second quarter, I guess. This is football country.
Where's she in the draft?
Yeah, she could be higher in the draft, but she had that college season where she really didn't. She was sick, I guess, for a lot of. Get another question.
And this one's kind of hard.
Okay.
In, I believe it's called the Hearts and Hopes Day episode.
The Scooby-Doo episode.
Big Mac and Shirley get together at the end, and at the end of the episode, the doll thing, and Twilight goes insane. He goes back for the doll.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Big Mac is has resistance to going off of spells? And if so, do you think that any Earth Bunny can do the same?
Is Big Mac resistant to spells? Is that the question?
Well, he can't get off of a spell, I'm guessing.
Oh, well, then he can't get out. It's tough for him
Yeah.
to shake the spell. I don't know. That's a good question. That would really be for the writers more than for me. But maybe, because that's true. That's happened to him a couple of times for sure. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. Who's next?
Trial by fire!
All right.
First of all, I just want to say welcome to Kansas City, both of you. And also, I have a couple drawings for you guys. So, is that okay if I run those up to you?
I'm fine with that. Come on up.
Show us your drawings.
Maybe I'll have some more stuff.
Oh, this is Sunil and Big Mac together. And Sunil is saying, "Have we met?" And Big Mac is saying, "Nope." That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, those are beautiful. This is my Spitfire drawing. My friend made it for me. Okay, next question.
Hi, this is going to be kind of a long explanation, but I would like to say, as much as I love both of your characters, Spitfire's always had kind of special significance for me because
I can understand that.
because back in ninth, I like you too, Big Mac. But you give me an excuse to write shipfic that involves Shakespeare.
I do?
That's me. Thank you.
Anyway, you give me an excuse to use my Shakespearean knowledge.
Oh, that's good.
Anyway, so basically my the English teacher who kind of influenced me to become a writer, she wrote down kind of an evaluation of me back in 9th grade, and she said that I was, to quote, Spitfire at times and pensive at others. And that quote always kind of struck me, and my family always talks about it. And then I became a Brony, and I'm like, hey, look, it's Spitfire. And
there's a character that embodies your Spitfire side.
And in fact, I wasn't able to finish it before the convention, but I was actually working on a fan fiction about kind of how a lot of fans have kind of noticed how season 1 Spitfire at the gala acts a lot differently than Spitfire at work, and Yes, and I was writing a fan fiction to kind of describe that because I think that Spitfire would really kind of like to get to know Rainbow Dash off duty, but at the same time, you know, I think she's kind of like, I think her thing is, you know, she, you know, people expect Princess Celestia to get close to Twilight because, you know, she's her only student, really. She only really does Twilight, but Spitfire has so many people wanting to become Wonderbolts that she can't really have that sort of favoritism, and she can't show that.
That's true. Yes. Well, you know, when the character changed, there was a lot of internet controversy. I know that originally my part was claimed to Marika we do have a slight similar tone, and then Wonderbolts Academy came out, and she was a little bit more intense, and it brought my voice to a higher place. We were like, what happened to the first Spitfire? It's like, dude, she's not at work right now. She's just, you know, so the character evolved as the writers gave her more to do, and I know that you Bronies, you create a lot of backstory, more than maybe even the show does. So sometimes when the show takes the character in a different direction, it can interfere with the backstory world. Do you have anything to add to that?
Sometimes I think you guys hook into a character that the show, like in the script, it'll just be called Pony Number 2, right? And then you guys will be like, I love that character. That character is awesome. And then, you know, then it gets to animation, and the animators are like, Pony Number 2, well, what are we going to do for that? We can't just draw a pony with a bunch of 2s on it or whatever, so they put a character on it, and you guys react to it. But then what happens is, later they go, oh, you know what should happen is maybe that character that was Pony Number 2 in season 2 on the thing, that character should maybe say something. You know, and sometimes I think that happens with characters that haven't said anything, sometimes I think that happens with characters that have a line, or whatever. They kind of forget what happened, and they go, oh, well, this one will be good. She's never spoken before. Yeah.
How did the two of you actually get involved with voice acting?
Wow, let's pick a voice to ask that question. I did a lot of theater, and I heard I had, from directors and stuff, that I had an unusual sounding voice. And so actually my first voiceover workshop was with Kathleen Wesseluck. So that was lucky and helped, and then yeah, just like that, bam. No, I went and found like a private coach and made a demo to try and make myself sound like I knew what I was doing. And luckily that was good enough that our agent Ralph picked me up, which was very lucky for me, so it got me in the door to audition. But it took me 2 years of pounding, knocking on doors, auditioning for things before I got my first, it's called pre-lay gig. That's where you lay down the animation track first, and then they draw to what you say. It took 2 years to get into that, and
That's fast.
yeah, apparently it's a tight little circle. You gotta be good. You just gotta look at what the people who are doing it are doing, and be like, well, I gotta be at least as good as that person. What do I have to do to get at least as good as who I think is great?
Yeah. That's right.
I was doing live sketch comedy around Vancouver and thinking that was going to make me world famous, and that failed. And
Ponies.
and then I thought, well, what can I do? You know, but what I really want out of all of this is to be an actor. And I was thinking about being an actor on film and television, but I really thought I was under the misconception that actor meant as, you know, chiseled and good looking as the Brad Pitts and the George Clooney's of the world. And so I thought, well, I can't possibly be an actor on camera. But I have this training that I sort of put myself through as a sketch comedian to access characters really quickly and make bold choices about these characters and play them very broadly, which is a lot of what you need to be in an animation performer. So I put a demo together and then started working in film and television for about 10 years before I really before I broke through my pre-lay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of persistence. And It's a lot of resistance and a lot of rejection. So just to give you a little perspective of that, if I got one audition a week, there's 52 weeks in a year, right?
Yep.
And I, on average, from 10 years I've been working professionally, I book 2 new gigs a year, on average. So that's successful. That's a lot of rejection. I'm basically a professional reject. So it's very nice to get some appreciation for what we do. But this is when Peter was saying, you know, if you can't handle the rejection of telling you someone saying, don't be an actor, don't be an artist. If you can't even handle that first rejection, you're not going to be able to handle the onslaught of rejection that we face. So yeah, it's a lot of just battling your way and proving that you should be hired to do this.
Yeah.
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 Hello. This one's for Kelly. In Wonder Bolt Academy, Spitfire was kind of the drill sergeant character.
She was.
Which was kind of fun, and at the same time, as someone who's been through boot camp, realized it's not as intimidating, but it is a kid's show, so it has to be toned down.
What? I wasn't as scary as real boot camp? Wait till workout with the Winter Bolts tomorrow.
Which I'm running.
Oh, okay.
So the question is, what inspiration, I guess, along the lines helped for that in the drill sergeant role, and were there any lines cut or any that you kind of had in mind, like as drill sergeant type insults for Spitfire?
Oh, I wish I was allowed to like make up my own lines for my I'm not allowed to make up my own lines. Basically, Terry Clausen, the director, was just in the booth being like, yeah, make it sound more like drill sergeant. I was like, I don't know what that sounds like. He's like this. And I was like, okay. So I have to make up a line right now.
If you have anything.
Well, I'll see right now. I think you should drop down and give me 20. 20.
Do it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay.
Hi, Peter. This question is for you. You said your advice as a voice actor is to quit.
Well,
How did that help you?
it helped me because I was one of those people that went, hell no.
I thought it would be something like that.
Right? Somebody told me that and I went, who are you?
It's all mind games, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you, like, it's a, you know, as Kelly was just saying, it's just a way to say, look, you're gonna face more rejection than you're gonna face success in your career. And that doesn't, like, I don't care how successful you are as an actor, I don't care if you're like a $1 billion value movie star, you still face rejection. You know, Tom Selleck was supposed to be Indiana Jones, right? Didn't get it. And so that happens. All the way up the ladder, it happens. And you have to be ready for that. And so that advice, you need to have that spirit that says, hell no, I'm gonna do this. This is what I want, it's in my blood, I'm gonna do it. And there's nothing else for me, right? And that's what that advice is about.
What is it like to be with other voice actors of the show?
I don't know, what's this like?
I think, well, voice actors are super geeky and kind of annoying a little bit, like, but I still like them. But whenever I'm in session, like, this is a group of brilliant weirdos, and I don't know what they would do if they didn't get hired to do this, because their skill set is so specific, and just like, where do you put these people if you can't put them in a studio to make cartoons? I find it hilarious and inspiring and sometimes annoying.
As an accurate assessment, I feel like if there weren't cartoons, we would all be court jesters. And most of us would have been executed by now because there's a degree of irreverence to it that a lot of the royalty doesn't like. It's fun, but sometimes annoying.
Fielding the question for both of you. When you have a character that doesn't show up regularly, I guess that is, like you said, a vacuum where maybe sometimes the fans put something in that's not necessarily there, but you're the ones who have to do it. So, you know, I'm sure you're aware of the vacuum and you put something in that. I'm wondering for both of you, just as a perspective on the characters as they exist now when you're doing them, who are they to you? Who are you when you do them now?
I find for Big Mac particularly that I filled that void early. I never think of him as an idiot. I think of him as a remarkably intelligent character that just doesn't feel the need to speak. And so I filled that void, I guess, with, he is a character that has a deep inner life and a deep wisdom. And he's not that interested in the politics of the day-to-day lives of everybody else in Ponyville. But I decided that on day one, and they gave me the job based on that assumption. And so I've been living with that since the beginning, and so I don't really think of it any more deeply than that. Partly because it doesn't help me as an actor. I can't really play, you know, in any given moment as an actor in a scene, all you can play is what's happening in the scene. You can play against the characters that are there, you can play for what you want, but you can't play 5 years ago my parents died in a horrible accident. You can't play it. It's not there on a page, so you can't play it. So there's no point in filling the void, because the void doesn't help you particularly.
I did take the internet comments well, I considered them when they said that Spitfire's voice changed from her like laid-back party voice to her Academy, Wonderful's Academy voice, and I was like, okay. So then the next episode that they gave me, I can't remember what it's called. Anyone remember what it was? Rainbow Falls. She wasn't in that position as drill sergeant, but she wasn't at a party. So I was like, well, where do I place her now? Thanks a lot for giving me something totally different to do again. So then I was like, okay, well, it's still me. I don't have that big of a vocal range, so maybe I'll just put her someplace in the middle. Sometimes she'll be intense, and sometimes she'll be party, and it will all work out. So that I went from a more technical stance of where do I place my voice, to kind of fill that, that empty vacuum that occurs whenever I'm not on my little pony.
The thing that really happens, I think, for us is we just go, why isn't my agent calling me? Seriously. That's mostly how we fill the void. Facebook, yeah. Twitter.
Okay, so for aspiring voice actors or actresses, what would you recommend for moving to a location or for education?
I think practical education can help you. You can learn about resonators, you can learn about how to breathe and where to put your voice and things like that. But I think mostly what can help you in terms of education is not so much classes as much as really involving yourself in what's current, involving yourself in pop culture, practicing particular imitations that are conducive to, or that match with your own voice. And in terms of location, yeah, you need to be, as Kelly said earlier, you need to be in the center. You need to go where the action is. I was told once by some friends of mine that are producers in LA that LA is an industry town, and you know it's a factory town, and you have to be where they're making the product to live in a factory town if you want a factory job. And that makes perfect sense to me. I would move to LA if I wasn't a Canadian. I'm not allowed. Yeah, I think that's basically it. It's just to keep practicing. I would get involved with community theater, with sketch comedy or improv troops. Get involved with people locally that you that have similar interests, and just keep yourself working out, practice, and goof off. Really.
my advice, I can only speak from my own experience. I had a younger brother who was 11 years younger than me who watched cartoons all the time, and I really do think having cartoons playing in my house influenced me in that way. I took singing lessons as a teenager a lot, classical training, which just gives you an awareness of your instrument, and I went to theater school and did a lot of plays. So all those things kind of add up to lead you and to lead me in this direction.
I guess the kind of classes that I think are irrelevant, a lot of teachers I think don't really know how to teach acting because so much of it is mercurial and so much of it is mystical. That I remember doing an exercise in an acting class which was like, okay, you guys are all clocks. Really? We're gonna act like clocks? So everybody was like ticking and talking and whatever, and I chosen to be a grandfather clock, so I started bonging as loudly as I could. People started looking at me like I was an idiot, and I sort of looked over at the teacher and went, I'm a clock, you know? And he kind of shrugged and went, yeah, okay, well, you know. But I just feel like, how does that, I don't know, I guess maybe it helps you in terms of your ability to learn how to commit to a particular thing, but it's so ridiculous and off the wall that I just feel like you don't really know what you're doing, do you? And you'll come across, if you try to take a lot of acting classes, you'll come across a lot of teachers that they really know nothing. And if you feel like that, get out, because you don't need to be there.
Who, voice acting wise, are some of your bigger inspirations historically? Who are some of the people who you like, I don't want to do anything like that?
Mel Blanc. When I found out that Mel Blanc did all of those voices on Looney Tunes. And then that sort of led me to look at like people like Dan Castellaneta, Hank Azaria, The Simpsons, and that whole era. I was starting to be very much interested in when The Simpsons was really big and new.
I basically want to be Tabitha St. Germain when I grow up. I think she's brilliant and the best in Vancouver. I just, whenever I'm in the studio with her, I'm like, okay, just watch what she's doing. One day you will be like her. Yeah. So yeah, she's got a thing that to even she has amazing technical skill, but she has something beyond the technical skill that I don't even think can be taught. So just kind of try and suck out her life force every time I get. That's my plan. Next question.
Alright, so this is actually a pretty quick question. I was just wondering if either of you guys have been asked back for season 5 yet.
Next question.
I just wanted to ask, Peter, I know you sound like you've done improv. Kelly, have you guys ever done improv, and what was your experience with it?
I did improv in high school. I think there's an element of improv for great actors, but it's fun, it's hard. It gets your imagination muscles running. You can speak more.
I did do some improv. I mostly did sketch comedy. I rather liked the writing aspect of it as well. I sort of feel like there's a continuity between writing the words and then performing the words. So I gravitated towards sketch comedy, which is a rigidly written form that appears like improv. Although I did do improv as well, so I don't know. They're both fun. At the back.
What was your first like run-in with the Brony community and your initial reaction to it?
Okay. My very, very first run-in with the Brony community, I sort of knew vaguely that Bronies were a thing. Like my Facebook fan page had exploded. I'd seen like a bunch of R34, and I was like, what is going bunch, I mean like one thing, but like, it felt like a bunch, like really. So I had an audition down at Dick and Rogers, which is the studio where we record the show. And there's like this just tiny little lobby where the elevators are to go up, and it's all glass doors. So I come up to the glass doors, and there's a group of people inside. It's usually dead empty. There's a group of people inside, and one of them turns around and goes, and I just see his lips going, but it's like, oh my God, I think that's Peter New. I can totally tell that's what he was saying. And I buzz in, and they let me in, and immediately they start talking to me. I have no idea what to do or how to take it. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want ever. Hi, sure. Plus, I'm really nervous because I have an audition, right? So, and then I get in the elevator to go up, and I'm like, wow, what just happened? But one of them gets on the elevator with me, and she's holding like all of this stuff, and I really don't know how to deal with her. And I'm like, what's going on? And she says to me, oh, that just some people, it's my birthday, so some people came. And I'm like, okay, well, happy birthday, and whatever. And she says to me, oh, well, I work on the show. And I'm like, oh, I work on the show. And we will, it was Sibsy. Turns out. So some guys from the local community came down to give her a birthday card. And then we rode in the elevator. That's how we met, Sibsy and I. So you guys brought us together, me and Sibsy. And then subsequent to that, it was like that was sort of the moment where I went, okay, that didn't, like I was the weird one in that situation. Like they were just trying to say hello, and I was being like, So maybe I'm the guy that has to figure out, like, can I actually navigate this without being a total weirdo? And I hope I'm doing a decent job of that, because I really like everybody that I meet here, so you guys are amazing.
Minutes are special. My first experience was after the Wonderbolts Academy came out, and I didn't even know it had come out, but I just looked at my Gmail and it's like, you got 50 new followers on Twitter. I was like, why does anyone care today? And then it's like, oh, the bronies, they found me. And then so I was like, okay, well, let's see what this is. And then, of course, the first Tumblr I stumbled upon is Spitfire's Sexy, and I was like, oh! I don't feel comfortable right now. But then, as we get to know you, and as I had contact on Twitter with everybody, it's been great, and I love you guys, and it's such a wonderful community, and I'm so glad that you found this show and that it has brought something to your lives and to our lives. Like, this was an unexpected turn that we really couldn't have predicted, but it's pretty fun and pretty cool. Yeah. This is kind of fulfilling my Star Trek fantasies, like you guys are like the new Trekkies, and I'm like, pretend I'm like Counselor Deanna Troy or something, right? I'm like Deanna Troy of My Little Pony, right?
I think of you more as a Dr. Crusher, really. Yeah, more Dr. Crusher. Right? Yeah.
I'm cute.
But she chickened out. She was like, season 2, I'm done. I don't want to be part of this. Tasha Yar. Whatever.
Peter, you be cute.
I'll be cute. Yeah. Well, the problem is we have John Delancey, who is playing basically Q as Discord. Yeah.
Hi, I want to thank you guys for coming because this is my very first convention.
Hey!
And my question is, what was your favorite voice acting role?
That's a really hard question to answer because so many of them are so much fun to do. I think for me, ultimately, it has to be Sunil on Littlest Pet Shop. Thank you. And it's not just because not just because Sunil is fun to play, and he is, but because that opportunity gives me so many other opportunities to play so many other parts on that show, that it just becomes like a voice actor paradise, that entire experience. It's great fun for me.
That comes back a lot more.
My favorite would be Nia on Ninjago, which is my main show right now. And in the beginning, in the first season, she was always the girl who got kidnapped and the boys had to rescue her, or she got left behind while the boys went on adventures. So to see how the writers have taken that character and actually made the girl in the show do something interesting has been really fun for me. But the weirdest job I ever had was on dubbing anime. I don't even know what show it was. I had to do the sound of a geisha robot being shot through the head. And I was like, this is my life. Okay. And it was like something like, that's it.
The biggest one for me was, I think, probably the hair demon on Inuyasha, which amazingly recurred, which was basically a giant ball of hair, sometimes with eyes and sometimes with a mouth. And it just basically went, because that's really how I felt, like a hair demon.
Seeing as us Bronies love to talk about what we like to watch as children, what did you guys like when you were kids? Woo!
I watched cartoons for a long time, but then my whole kind of cartoon watching experience is kind of a blur. So I liked a lot of the Looney Tunes, obviously, and I enjoyed some Hanna-Barbera stuff. I watched like Robin Hood and the Hercules.
Hey, Herc, hey, Herc!
You know, and all that, which most of you won't have any kind of resonance with. And then later, I was still watching cartoons when The Simpsons began and Futurama and all that. I just keep watching them.
I watched a lot of Animaniacs. Sailor Moon, because my brother watched it. I love Sailor Moon, and yeah, I think that the woman who plays Sailor Moon is really good. It's coming back. This is the original or a new one? Okay, well, I hope they cast someone who can do what she can do. Or me. Yeah! I think that's being recorded in Vancouver. I haven't heard of it. Yeah. Right now I like Adventure Time.
Right now I like Archer.
So I have a question for each of you. Kelly, you did an interview with one of my friends last year, and he asked you what you think Spitfire would do if she quit being a Wonder Bolt. And your answer was, you said she would become a doctor?
I was just riffing, you know. They're just playing what I call the imagination game. Yeah. So,
Nothing behind that?
nothing behind that except in the moment I was like, and then that's what came out of my mouth, which is kind of the story of my life.
What would Dr. Spitfire sound like?
And Peter, whenever you read the lines for Hearts and Tuesday, you know, all the spoopy whatever, were you like, what am I reading? Do I really have to do this?
No, I was excited to do it. The biggest problem I had with all of that was I had just recently discovered all of you. And up until that point, I was quite comfortable in my role as stalwart, quietly wise, monosyllabic pony. And then all of a sudden I had to be excitable, lovesick, yet still the same pony. And so it was a lot of, I think, what you were facing with Spitfire was like, how do I do this, remain true to the character that I've already established, and then still do it in a way that all of you are gonna go, awesome! Because I was feeling a lot of pressure knowing that there was actually a group of fans out there to do a really good job. I hope I did.
Yeah. Woo!
Hi, this is for Peter. I was wondering if every time Big Macintosh goes yup, do they have to fly into the studio every time?
They don't fly me ever to the studio.
Do they have to bring you in every time?
Yeah, they do. I sometimes walk, I sometimes drive to the studio, but I always go in when they need me. We record 7 new yups. That they put out.
This is something for the both of you. I know one important part of being a voice actor is being able to have a good accent for most anything. Any good accents you could probably do? Like maybe British or Australian?
Oh man. No. I've got like 3 voices and they all sound the same. No, that's actually, in terms of like professional growth, that's something that I need to work on. I have like a bad British accent, and that's about it.
I've been blessed with a gift for it.
I've been able to, I'm quite lucky on Littlest Pet Shop particularly to be, I've been given a lot of different accent roles. I principally play Sunil, who is an Indian mongoose. I've also played the British-ish butler. I've also played the a Chicago maintenance park worker. I've also played the host of a reality show based fairly loosely on Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter. Nah, it's not. Nah, it's not. Nah. Ozzy's real easy. Listen, here's what you do. What can you do a Cockney? Badly? Alright, badly's good. Can you do a Cockney? Anyone? Alright. Imagine yourself, you're impoverished, right? South side of London. Nice. 1870 something or what have you. Hungry, steal a loaf of bread, they catch you, put you on a boat. 6 months at sea, right? 6 months in the dark, in the hole, can't see a thing, rocky, back and forth, sick making, right? Finally they let you out, it's blazing hot. Crikey, it's hot. And you just sort of slide into it, don't you? What, mate? And that's it. And that's how that accent happens.
Question for both of you. You guys keep talking about how, you gotta adapt with your voices as different episodes come around. What character type do you think is more difficult to adapt for? A larger role that goes through a lot of growth and development, or a smaller one that's more flexible?
The smaller ones are never flexible. The smaller ones are really hard. When you have a lot of growth and development, your voice can do more, and you have a better knowledge of your character, and you can actually react to situations. When you have a small part, you have to come in with one line and embody a real person, or what a real person's voice would sound like, and it's hard because you are filling that vacuum of a whole life in one sentence. So.
And they don't always know what they want out of that small part either. So sometimes you go in and you're like, I can sound like this, and they go, no, that's wrong. What else can you do? And then you're standing at the microphone in a room full of people going, but you have to come up with it. You got to be there. That's definitely hard.
This is for both of you. I was wondering if there's any choice you could have to voice any of the other characters, who would it be?
Okay, I obviously, there's a small group of us in Vancouver who audition for every show, and I auditioned for the main 6. I wanted Applejack so bad.
Yeah,
down something like this, but obviously it's not as good as what Ashley did, because Ashley was the one that got it. At Applejack, it's like, there's so many, as I said before, there's so much rejection, and you just gotta, as soon as you walk out of an audition, you just be like, okay, done, I don't care. But there's some jobs, and because this has become such a phenomenon, they just haunt you, and you're like, I wanted Applejack to have, I wanted it. So, I would love to have been Applejack.
I mean, there haven't been a lot of opportunities on My Little Pony for other male roles. I suppose if there were any other role that I would love to have a crack at, it probably would have been Discord, but honestly, that casting is so perfect, like, that kind of takes away my, any eagerness that I had for it. Like, I just kind of go, oh, yeah, no, that's go.
We're going to take about 5 more questions and we're going to wrap it up.
Some of these guys over here haven't had a chance.
Oh yeah, I'm going, working on it. I'm getting there.
Okay, this is a question for both of you. If you had a chance to voice any of the background characters, who would those be? Like the background buddies, like Lyra, Dr. Who's, all those different people.
Any of them I want to work. I would love to play Granny. Your Granny voice is good.
I just thought about what Tabitha would do, and it was that. Anytime, there's no specific one. Anytime that there's an opportunity to work, I would like it.
Derpy doesn't say anything.
Yes, she does. I don't have any preference. I'm gonna leave it at that.
This is for both of you. If either of you could voice act any existing fictional character ever, no matter what the show, what would it be?
Do I have to choose just one?
Does it have to be voice? I want to be the Red Woman on Game of Thrones. I want to be her.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a voice. I want to be Doctor Who. I've been watching since the 70s. Come on.
Hey, my question's for you, Peter. I just wanted to ask and let us all know how Alien Abduction is doing.
Alien Abduction, I probably have to tell everybody what it is first, because not everybody probably knows. Last year in Canada, there was a contest called Cinecoup, which was just basically a new funding model for Canadian film. And basically what they asked was for filmmakers across the nation to produce a trailer for a movie that they would like to make. My friends Maddie and Mikey Granger decided to put together a trailer called Alien Abduction, in which I played the alien. The abduction is, I have been abducting this little boy since he was an infant because I'm under pressure from my species to prove that the human race is not worth completely eradicating because my race needs a new homeworld, and they've given me till his 30th birthday to prove that you all are worth saving.
Aww.
Except that he discovers that he's being abducted, and so he abducts me. And there's your movie. So they built me this skin-tight blue bodysuit with magnetic spikes on my head that I could remove, and painted me blue. And I was just this kind of innocent idiot. And Patrick Gilmore from SGU was the lead guy, Dave. we got into the top 5. The top 5 got to go to the Banff Film and Television Festival and pitch their movies in front of Hollywood, basically. And the #1 film got $1 million to go and make their movie. The film that won was called Wolf Cop. Dirty Harry, only hairier, yeah. And so you kind of go, oh, all right. But the result of all of that was that they have been trying to negotiate with some people that they met while in Banff for a $3 million budget, and that sort of ultimately means that they're going a more traditional route, which is sort of 5 years longer. So we're in a holding pattern while they wait for everybody to try to figure out whether they all want to fund this idea and make it happen. That's where we are.
I interviewed just with Dusty not long ago. You had mentioned it. You said you were kind of the same place you are now.
No, nothing's moved on since I talked to Dusty. Alas. I mean, it's really funny, and I love working with the Grangers. I've done a couple of things with them, and they're ridiculous people, honestly. So it's which I enjoy. So, hi.
Who is your favorite pony besides yourself? Mine's Zikora.
Zikora is a good choice. Hey, my favorite pony besides myself. Ooh, do you have an idea?
I think Pinkie Pie. Whenever I get an episode, I just love sitting in the studio and listening to Andrea. She's so good, and they make her do like 3 takes of everything, but she doesn't even need them. Like, they could use anything, and she's, I love listening to it. Those girls have their characters down really tight, and they're so funny and so brilliant. And in a show that has mostly women in it, they're way better behaved than my show, Ninjago, which is mostly guys, and I'm like, how are we even working? This is like all the kids in detention in a room for 8 hours, and they're paying us. This is ridiculous, but My Little Pony is like, tight.
Yeah, we get it done in My Little Pony. I think Applejack. For me.
You hear that quiet? I'll cheer for Applejack.
All right, last question. I'm sorry, it's over here apparently.
Since the fan base is just so diverse, like there's a lot of artists and there's a lot of people who make their own music, what's your favorite thing that you've seen from the fan base, or the favorite part from the Bronies?
My favorite thing to see is like all of the costumes, all of the art, all of the music, like anything that you guys are creating based on what we have done. I think it's remarkable what we have managed to inspire. It's rewarding, and it's delightful to be a part of something that has created more art back at us than we have created in the first place. And I think that's got so much value and import. It's remarkable. That's my thing.
Whenever I have to defend bronies at dinner parties to my normal friends, I like to talk about the friendship and community that has developed from this, and that's really inspiring. And yeah, the art and creativity, it blows me away, and really you guys are creating more than what we've created. And it's very inspiring, so I hope you continue, and I hope you take it beyond the pony world as well. I put it in, be brave enough to not just copy the pony characters, but to create your own characters and see what comes from that.
Yeah. Honestly, like, you guys are a genuine inspiration, I think probably for both of us. So big round of applause for this.
This is our Q&A panel. I'm a director of VIP relations over here. My brain's dead. Has a couple things to say real quick, and then if anybody, I know you guys have some stuff you want to bring up here to give to these guys. Once he's done making an announcement, if you can make a line real quick, we'll handle that real fast, and we gotta get on to our next panel. So I'm sure Grego wants to get set up, don't you?
Take your time.
Oh, okay. All right then.
There's an hour and a half after my show is over where there's nothing, so I'm gonna run a little late.
Okay, cool. We got a couple minutes, we're good. All right, Scott.
Alright, so people, who would like to autograph from these special people? Yeah? Okay, because on the schedule here, on the voice acting autograph is going to be at Earth Pony Room, which is across from this room, and it's going to be at 7:30. So please be there for tonight if you guys want to get an autograph from them. And then if you want, and before you get the autograph, make sure you go to the registration table and purchase for these amazing people for the autographs. And then if you can't do it tonight, there's always tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. same room. Make sure you get the payment at the front of registration line before anything else.
All right, guys, thanks for checking out our voice actor panel. Again,
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming out.